Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be on this big, beautiful planet we call home. And welcome to Drinks and Dave. I'm Dave.
I'm Dave.
And welcome to our inaugural show. Congratulations, Dave. We finally did it. We're finally here. And hopefully we'll have some people here pretty soon, we hope.
Oh, I thought that was it. Wasn't that a good show?
Yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
You got the music?
Okay, so before we go any further, and I can see in our lovely chat room, which we have to come up with a name for our chat room, and we could call it the bar, which would be appropriate, or we could call it the pit. I don't know if we want to do the pit, or I like the bar. You know, they're bellied up to the bar, and hopefully we'll get some people. So
it'd be the bar flies.
Yes, that's it. Our viewers will be the barflies. Very, very well done. So hopefully we'll get some people here pretty soon. Here, you know what? I'm going to make a call, and I'm going to do it out to the universe. Our show is live. Come join us.
Hey!
That was said to all the avocados, I think. And, well, there he is. There's Rich.
The peanut gallery.
And Rich, guess what? We have a sound for you that is reminiscent of when you come in the show. We think.
Are you doing it?
No, you do it.
I'm doing the chat. Oh, we gotta. Hold on, Rich. Hold on. We're new at this. Here we go.
We're such.
We gotta get that at Rich volume. Rich.
We are such 4-year-olds. So before we get started, this is Drinks and Dave. So, Dave, what are we drinking tonight?
Well, you know what? Because it's the inaugural episode here, I brought it. Can you see this? Do you know what this is?
Yes, that is the Octomore.
The Octomore 12.1, the big daddy of Pete.
So, we're getting all kinds of people in. We've got Nurse Dave Shaving World, which is odd because are you in two places at once? We'd like to welcome the Enabled Shaver, Howard Brown, and Barber Dave Shaves and Such. That's interesting. Now, if they start talking... Oh, Mr. Taggart, Mr. Major Rich would like some more beans. Oh, now we've got...
So that's what's in my glass, dude.
Okay, and now I know you're not smoking. Hey, Frank, how you doing, buddy? Well, for me tonight, since it's our inaugural. Now I've only had one of these so far. Basically, I've got Lefroy Cardias, which is a wonderful, wonderful Scotch. And then also, since this is our first show, I wanted to be extra special. Rich, grab your pinkies because I am smoking a Arturo Fuente Opus X Siglo from 2012. So that's what we were doing. So Dave, while I get this lit, tell our kids. Oh, and so since we've got you guys here, just so you know, in the chat room, you guys will be at the bar. So make sure you chat and say everything. And then actually, you guys are now going to be known as Drinks and Dave's The Barflies. How's that sound?
And please, put what you're drinking in the chat if you're sitting along with us tonight. And I'm jelly. Yeah, I'm inside today. It was super windy here, so I knew that I couldn't get away with microphones outside. So no cigar for me. But I've never had an Opus X. I know there's many variations. Is it worth it? Is it smooth or is it strong?
Hold on a minute.
Oh, hold on. Oh, he's having a moment.
Yeah, I got to have a moment. And no, it feels like And also, if you mix that with, it's wonderful. It's just absolutely great.
Good old H2O. I got the backup, Rich. I got the water here. So we'll go. Let's wait another 5 minutes, and then we can kind of talk about where we came from, where we're going. I'll start when I was born back in the 70s, and we can move on from there. So you did a big shopping trip today, buddy.
Yes, I did. Today, as most people that watch my YouTube channel know, that Mondays is Barber Errand Day. Now that goes back a long, long way because most barbershops are open on Saturday. Sunday was the day of worship, and then Monday was the day that you ran to the bank, you ran to the car wash, you ran to this. And I did most of those things, but I had a slight detour to the cigar shop, and I was captured by aliens.
Now the cigar shop, isn't that over half an hour away? Isn't that what you told me?
It's about an hour. Yeah, it's on the far. Yeah,
That's
it's about.
a detour.
Yeah,
Oops.
it's on the far east side of town.
Oh,
And, ooh,
look
Frank's
look
got
at this
Ardbird
beast.
10. Yeah, baby. I
There you
like
go,
that.
buddy.
But I like this is a traditional old-fashioned newsstand, for lack of a better term, Crescent newsstand, and they used to have two locations. They first opened up in the 1930s here in downtown Tucson, and then they closed their downtown location, which is why we were able to get those Nat Sherman cigars. But it really is one of the last true newsstand cigar tobacco shops and shaving stores. They have got 3 huge cases of DEs, brushes, Simpson brushes, and then, of course, you move back, you've got ashtrays, and then you've got the huge humidor, and then you also have newspapers, still paper newspapers from all over the world, and then also a pipe and tobacco section. So for me, it's worth the extra trip because the guys know you. They know what you like. If you get something in, they'll hold it for you. And unfortunately, it's kind of like the old time barbershops. It's the last bastion before it
Yeah.
goes away.
That's like Man Cave Central. Do they have a lounge you can sit there and smoke?
No, not at that one. Because the landlord, it's in a strip mall, and the landlord is strictly a non-smoker policy.
Gotcha.
One of those. Let's say if this person, if this person had, everybody just looks at him and does this.
You have to let us know if the special effects get a little bit
Oh, sorry.
overboard.
So go
Yeah.
ahead.
Well, we've got time. So everybody knows, I'm sure, you and I both have shaving channels. I think maybe somewhat of a little bit uh, different focus. That you're kind of more serious about it. You have a tutorial on straight shaving, more than one tutorial on straight shaving, and put out about 3 videos a week, if not more. Right.
Yeah.
Um, I I just like to think of it as mine is shower thoughts. I'm not that serious about the shaving part. A lot of times I don't even talk about what I'm shaving with, and I realized um, that's what it was for me, and it was weird that I enjoy that, right? Because I sit there in the shower, and that's when you have all your thoughts, and then now that I do the
Oh,
video,
wait. No, I don't know about you, but I have other things going on in the shower besides just thoughts. Soaping. I'm talking about soap. Don't. Yeah, you don't. No, I'm talking about soap.
Wrong.
watch out. And anyway, I find myself now when I'm doing a video, I'm thinking, well, I should say this and I should say that. It's just a conscious thought thing, right? Stream of consciousness, my video. But
Well,
yeah,
no, go ahead.
but I started. I've only done 3 of them, but started with you with the interview while I'm shaving, and that was a lot of fun.
Right.
And I think everybody knows that you're the owner, one of the owners of the cadre. I'm a member. I think probably everybody here right now is members of the cadre. But we have our Zoom calls every other Sunday, which are a ton of fun. You get to chat with people, and having somebody to talk to during the shave made me realize how much more enjoyable it is to interact. Even
Oh,
then.
absolutely. Well, I think I think that's what's cool about, and everybody that's listening should know that this was really the onus of Dave to do this because of our similarities and of our differences, and we wanted to have a live show where people could ask questions and stuff like that. Rich just asked, Barber Dave Brandon shaving stuff in your merch. Yes, in fact. I mean, it's going to be a huge store. It's going to take up at least 4 acres because I'm going to have 3 T-shirts and a coffee mug, and that's pretty much about it. And we'll probably do the same thing here. If you guys have seen the really cool logo, the Drinks and Dave logo. And well, it depends, Rich. Whether tallness has to do with how close you're sitting, and you and everybody here knows I'm 5 foot nothing, anyways. So it doesn't matter. But I'm taller than Chris Lindsay, and so that is fantastic. But so just on my side, what I see, where I see this channel going. And I guess we should preface this by saying that for the time being, until we get, what is it, Dave, 100?
100, yeah.
Once we get 100 subscribers on Drinks and Dave's, then this show will kind of migrate to all 3 channels. Is that correct? Or will it just be
we'll
this
have
one?
to decide. Right, so we do have our own YouTube page, which we can't stream live on until we get 100
Right.
viewers. So that's why it's on our 2 pages. As soon as we get the 100 viewers, I think maybe we'll do the 3 for a little while, because we want to shift everybody over to that for this show, because you're going
Right.
to keep doing your shave stuff. I'll probably keep doing mine. This doesn't replace that.
Right, exactly.
We're just because we have to right now. We are on our shave channels, and then as we get people to move over, eventually we'll only be broadcasting on that.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have another question from the Enabled Shaver. And the best he wants us to fight. The best SCAC razor, Vectrum or Akamor?
If you're a little girl, right, Dave?
Well, what is your opinion on it? I mean, which one do you think's the best?
Are you serious?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, you know me.
Go ahead. No. I think everybody's interested.
So I've got them both. I've got them both. I point that out. And the Orin has a free floating blade, right? So that gives you a little bit more flexibility.
But if you know how to shave, you don't need a free floating blade.
Right.
Look at the beauty, the absolute gorgeousness of the Vector. I mean, it looks like it's going 1,000,000 miles an hour when it's standing still. And not to mention, the designer of the Vector. Look at Sean; he's a gorgeous man, and so it all goes with that. And but I'd be interested to see what the people in our chat room think is the best SCAC razor.
Between you and a beautiful man. But so anyway, getting back to the story of this, right? Dave was on my channel, and we were having the conversation. And as soon as I got done with it, I was thinking, you know what? I want to ask him about this. I want to ask him about this. I want to ask him about this. And it didn't seem right when my whole plan was to have different shavers on. When I did that, it wasn't just a me and Dave thing. So then it became like a whole. We could fill up hours of what did Stephen call us, this ridiculousness or?
Yes. I don't know. I don't listen to Stephen half the time, anyways. But
so anyway, so we decided to do it, right? And the plan is, for everybody listening, our plan is that sometimes it'll just be Dave and I, and sometimes we'll have at least one guest. And the hope is that we can pick a topic. This is not meant to be shaving related channel. It's almost everything but in theory. But we'll talk about whatever anybody wants to talk about. But we should have one topic that we kind of loosely stick to each day. And we already have a guest lined up. We have to pick a date for him, but we want to talk about our hobbies. We want to talk about collections, maybe get into some more philosophical stuff from time to time. But we already have a guy lined up for when we talk about coffee. It's a guy that's got his own roasting business and all that stuff. So that is what we hope to do. Is sometimes we just chat about a topic, and sometimes we have a guest in. But it's not just an interview, right? It should be like this,
right. Well, and I think also, those folks that we see that join us every week or whenever we have our shows that are sitting in the bar, that you guys, our barflies, may get invited to be the guest of honor, so to speak, and we want that. And I guess what I would add to that is that those folks that are joining us understand one thing, that Dave and we're like brothers. But the funny thing is as you will find out as we go forward, we have very differing opinions on certain things, but that's okay. And that's another thing. And Dave and I have spoken to this a lot. One of my goals is to show people that we don't have to have the divisiveness that we see in our country right now. We can have differing opinions. We can have different thoughts, different cares, and still be like simpatico brothers. And, basically we've decided that part of our canon to do this is we are going to save the world. Now, granted, I've had a couple of shots of scotch, but,
maybe after a few episodes. I don't think tonight.
Oh, yeah, no.
Tonight that'll happen. But wait, I got the wrong one off our thing. Speaking of that, we do want we welcome people to email us. One, if you have a topic you're interested in talking about, like Dave said, we just want to sit and chat. But also, if you or somebody has an interesting hobby or interesting job, when I was thinking about how we would come up with topics, I thought about the the dirty jobs guy. What's his name?
Mike Rowe,
the man's man, Mike Rowe. Where he's just curious about everything, and so am I. So. And so are you. So if we get somebody that's got a job we know nothing about, it could be delivering mail. I got 500 questions about people.
And that's the beauty of between because obviously our viewers for the time being are coming from three sources. They're coming from the Shaving Cadre, they're coming from Nurse Dave's Shaving World, and they're coming from Barber Dave Shaves and such. Just in that, we are looking at a total of, notwithstanding some of the people that are saying, we're talking 2,000 people overall. And the beauty of that is that we can find interesting parts of every single one of those people. You guys in the bar right now, there's jobs that you have that we know nothing about. And we would love to question about that. And that's the beauty of a show like this that's not, for lack of a better term, pigeonholed into one specific genre like shaving. It opens up all kinds of things, and if there's things you guys want to see, as Dave said, email us. Put it in the comments, because these shows after the live broadcast will end up on our video stream. And so we want to hear from you. And we, at some point in time, we hope to have merch, and we hope to do contests. That's all in the back of our minds, and we're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And, of course, always promoting the Shaving Cadre as well. And it's just, it's a real neat
What
thing.
happens behind the scenes stays behind the scenes, Dave. We've talked about that.
Wrong.
You should have never given me these buttons.
I should not have. We're going to have to demote you. Merch would be amazing. You're right. Did you check out? I think if I remove us.
Yeah,
Here,
you
let
can
me
do
remove us for just for a second. You won't be able to hear it, but you can see our logo. That's pretty cool. Huh?
That's our logo. Do you just put it in the chat? Do you guys like that logo?
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh wait, did you changed your title? I see that. The good looking David hurts. It does.
Yeah.
It does hurt. It does hurt when I look at you.
Hey, but I'm wearing Snoopy. I have Snoopy.
Oh, now I
Cowabunga.
see that.
So hey, here's some. Wait, you switched us. I was on the left. Now I'm on the right. Well, I guess actually that's probably more apropos. One thing we can talk about a little bit tonight, if you want, is we can talk about the Apple show that went on today, where they talked about all the new stuff. And I'll let you talk about it because you are the Disney guy.
Yeah, well, So I didn't watch most of it, right? I don't get too excited about it. And my wife watches it, and she'll shoot me texts about what's going on. But then she started talking about um, these what sounded like virtual reality goggles. Did you see them, Dave? Did you see what
Yes,
they're
I
for?
haven't.
Holy,
They're very thin. But did you see what the price tag was?
I did. And so $2,500, but it was funny because I've talked about. Okay, I guess we're going down a rabbit hole, and that's what this is all about, right? But I was mentioning on a Zoom call how I wouldn't feel sad when I get hearing aids because they're hidden, they're Bluetooth, and I love walking around when I got my earpiece in and you get the text or
Hmm.
notification from the news channel and just reads it into your ear. I'm all about that integration into technology, right? All those
Hmm.
movies where you see that, that's what it is. You just look and you see stuff. I love that.
Yeah.
And that's what this was starting to be but it's this big goggle thing,
Hmm.
but the way they showed it, and we'll see, I'll be shocked if it looks as good as they showed it, but that's exactly what it was, is that you look through these augmented reality glasses where you can see through them, but then it's projecting either computer screens just in space, or you can watch a movie and it looks like you've got a huge screen in front of you.
Hmm.
Um, and
Well,
not only that, yeah.
we have Meta's version, which I guess is Facebook. It was called the Oculus, and we
Yeah.
have that virtual reality, and that was actually pretty cool because you could watch any mainstream movie as if you were sitting in an IMAX theater, which is pretty cool. The only bad part about it is when you have the goggles on and you're watching this movie, and all of a sudden you feel this cold nose somewhere where then it brings you back to reality because you've got a dog that's saying, "What are you doing?" And that's kind of freaky, when you're watching Maverick.
Well, and that's actually one of the thoughts I had during all of this is that like I said, I don't mind walking around with these earbuds in and I'm listening to books on tape or whatever when I'm doing stuff. Right, there's always something going on,
Hmm.
unless you're at the dinner table or whatever, and it's rude. But you're watching a movie. You're completely excluding everybody else from that if you're wearing these big old goggles, right? It's not like you're
Hmm.
sitting down with your spouse or your family watching a movie. So it really is just like this individual experience.
Exactly,
Um,
and that's a cool thing that where we're headed. I mean, and that brings up, like I said, as we're talking, there's more and more topics that are rattling around in our brain. One could be because we know a lot of people that we know and we have. That we know on the forum that is into NASA and into spaceflight. So with this augmented reality, could somebody virtually go to a distant planet without ever having to go through all the danger and stuff that goes along with it? Now, the argument is that no, we need to feel, touch, smell, but at the same time, if you can do that for one billionth of the price and still get the same feeling, and that's where all this is headed. Because once we can get a tactile feeling for the augmented reality that we're in, that's going
oh,
to
then you're
be
not leaving the bedroom, Dave.
well. Now that I think about it,
So, but, okay, so the bad side about this is
you
you
do
remember
you
the
do know
movie.
you do know that Tig Lily is here. Just FYI.
Yeah, but we don't know who that is.
That's true.
So Franklin, uh, that's exactly
Exactly. That's a good
what I
point.
was saying is that when I was watching. So anyway, I was mentioning to my wife just a few days ago, well, what happened to Google goggles, and like that's the next step, right? You can wear the earbuds or hearing aids that are constantly connected. Um, but then when are we going to get this? And boom, here potentially it is, but it's so big and bulky and it isolates
Mm-hmm.
you from everybody else. And so what I was thinking of is remember Wally, the movie, the
Mm-hmm.
people that that's what I'm afraid of, right? If you don't get it smaller, so you integrate it with just being out and about, and it's just part of everybody's
Mm-hmm.
life, then you become this like you're just gonna sit there
You
and
become a big potato.
experience life right through virtual whatever.
Well, and I think Frank brings up a real good point. And I think that what would have to happen, and I didn't realize that we were going to end up going down this deep hole. But I think that one thing that will have to happen is there will have to be specific rules on AI and virtual reality, because I think what Frank is saying is very true, that a baseball game where everyone is looking at their phones is not a baseball game. A baseball game is when you're yelling at the umpire and when you're eating a hot dog that's been boiling in water since the spring opening game, and and watching the thing. And that brings up another subject. We can talk about sports and whether we like the new rules of baseball or not. I mean, there's so many topics that we're hoping to cover.
Did you see the example using this Apple, whatever they're calling the thing? I forget what it is. The football game, where the instant replay is shown like on the table in front of you, and you see a 3D view of the field. And, oh my gosh, that was just that was amazing. Major sumo.
Oh, and
Let's not smell-o-vision, Rich.
Yeah, we don't want smell-o-vision. But so what Dave and I are planning on doing is talking about a breadth of subjects. And if you guys have a subject you want us to talk about, we'll try to incorporate that into the show agenda. And then also, if you do have a great idea, then delegation is fantastic. We can bring you in, because I know that, like when we talk about sumo, two guys smacking up against each other, getting flipped. That's basically my knowledge of sumo. And as a matter of fact, when we do our sumo contests, for those of you that are old enough in here, you remember the greyhound races. And I remember one piece of sage advice my dad always gave me was that if you go to the dog races and they're in the paddock and they're walking around and the dog takes a dump, that's the one you want to pick to win, because he's the lightest.
I was gonna.
So maybe that, so we really want your guy, we want our barflies to have the input. In fact, that may be one of the first merch things, is I'm a Drinks and Dave's barfly. I like that. That'd be a cool T-shirt.
Wow. Well, I don't know that my wife would want that for Christmas.
Well,
I'm just saying.
And by the way, I need to bring something up here, because there was something that was said earlier today that talked about how I get blamed for a lot of people's enablements. And I will take that as, because those of you that are on everybody here is on the forum, so we all know what the central...
How did we get on this all of a sudden?
Because I just thought when you said your wife, and you said that, and Gear had said that your wife probably has colorful adjectives for me. But remember, and your wife probably remembers, that I emblazoned her name upon the Disney world that you love so much. So I think she likes me.
Yeah, but how long do you think that's going to pay off?
Well, it depends if I do it in gold or not.
Oh,
it's
the 100th anniversary or 50th or something. Yeah, you need the.
Hey, by the way, did you buy the coin? The 100th, the challenge coin from Disney? I saw that on. I can send you the link. See, I'm enabling even on our show.
No. Yeah, everybody that doesn't. Well, see, that's what's tough about this, is I don't want to repeat too much stuff, because those people that are part of the cadre know everything already, right? But
right. Well, why don't we talk? I'm in trouble. That's a short road. That's kind of scary. I don't know what that means.
Wow.
But why don't we could tell people a little bit about in future shows, a little bit about ourselves and how we ended up here, and like I said, my focus is to kind of not ignore the cadre in the forum, but to create a separate venue where we can talk about stuff that's not shaving, because shaving did bring us all together. But there's so much more out there, like Corvettes and watches and cigars and scotch. And,
well, luckily you're old enough to own a Corvette, so yeah.
You're not that much younger than me.
That's true. So I'm curious, Major Rich, just to get back to this comment, I'm curious about, because he said he's sticking with the PS4 virtual reality for the time being. That's what I was curious about, because looking at the VR goggles that you can play video games with, I really wanted those. But then you heard about people that get motion sick, and I get motion sick like immediately. right? Like those, we were at
Really?
Disneyland once and did like a Star Tours ride. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do this. It was maybe 5 seconds before I had to shut my eyes for the entire ride. It was
Really?
like
See,
immediate. Yeah.
that surprises me. See, that's another beauty about this show is you learn things all the time. I did not realize that because of how much you enjoy cruising. Now, granted,
Yeah.
I know that the larger cruise ships don't have, they have ballast and stuff like that, so you don't move around that much. But I'm surprised that you get motion sickness.
Yeah. So Rich, do you experience that with the PS4? So I didn't buy one because I read a lot of reviews that said you kind of got to work up your time with it. That you, especially if you get motion sick, you just play it for a few minutes and then a few minutes more, and it just didn't seem. So anyway, I was wondering with this Apple thing where you see through it, if you would have that same issue or not. Yeah. So it's $2,500, and I'm certainly not going to be the first on board. But I'll tell you, the graphics looked amazing, and I don't know. That might
Well,
be.
the only thing that I would say to that is that certain video games that come out create a certain you get hooked on them. Obviously for the young kids now, it seemed like for a while, Grand Theft Auto, which I'm against, but that's a whole nother subject, is one that people go crazy. But I witnessed it personally with somebody that I know very well. That there was a game years ago, and you guys might remember it. It was called Civilizations. And what Civilizations did is you started from nothing, and you built this civilization up to this huge empire and stuff like that. And I remember a certain individual playing that game for probably 36 hours straight. And so that's another issue that I think needs to be, considered when we're talking about any type of the virtual or augmented reality type issue. Where I use it, and on my iPhone, I've used it, where like let's say you're in a city you're not aware of, and you type in Chinese restaurant, and then into augmented reality, it'll actually show the restaurant. It may be miles away, but it'll show the restaurant and the signage in the front, so you can actually walk to get it, which I think is pretty cool.
Whoa,
And
wait,
stuff like
on
that.
your phone?
Yeah. There's an augmented reality setting that you can actually, when you're searching for something.
That's awesome. We'll have to talk about that. I need to know how to do that. So yeah. I can make myself car sick when I'm driving. I've done that before on windy roads and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
And so I was super worried about cruises. And so for quite a while, I got the patch, which works amazingly. Well, never got sick. But now I realize that, yeah, they hardly move at all. So
That's it.
unless
That's
it's
it.
walking, I won't use it.
That's really interesting because talking about motion sickness. Now, obviously, for those of you that do not know, I mean, everybody here knows what I did in the Air Force. I was a pararescueman, so I was jumping out of helicopters, planes, stuff like that. But I remember I had never been deep sea fishing before. And, obviously we live in the desert Southwest, so the closest we get to water is a pool. But a friend of mine lived in San Diego, and her mom actually was a kind of a tender on a swordfish or sail deep sea fishing boat. So, and this was like a 25-foot boat, and you went about 100 miles off and you fished. And of course, it's not like a big cruise ship. I mean, you're moving around in the waves and everything else. And some friends and I went, and I'm having a ball. And of course, the place has a little snack bar on it. And it was amazing that after about 2 hours, you could start seeing the people that would have motion issue because the color of their skin would kind of change from, an ashen color to a green. And of course, me, I don't get in fact, I like it. And so to me, going to the the snack bar and ordering a fried egg sandwich, and walking next to my buddy and saying, "Would you like a bite?" and watch him chum the water, and then going back and say, "Do you want me to get you a Snickers?" Because I didn't realize how bad motion sickness can be for some people. I thought it was just they just get a little dizzy. No, people get violently ill.
Yeah. So I got a story about that. My wife and I, lucky enough, got to go to Tahiti for our honeymoon. Best vacation ever. Whole nother we can spend a day talking about that. But one of the things we were going to do is go on a whale watching ship, whatever. And I was really looking forward to that, right? That's one of the things I thought about doing before we even went. So I had like a GoPro and two underwater cameras ready to go. And I'm like, I am not getting, because like you're saying, it's a small boat. So it's going to have motion. So I even you put the patch on, and I'm like, this is going to be fine. Well, they start going out, and they see these whales after a while off in the distance, and they're kind of trying to chase them. And they say, well, we normally don't go out past the breakwaters, but we see them right there. We want you guys to see something. So they keep going, and they keep going, and we finally get to where these whales are. And of course, the boat's starting to go like this. But the guy is like, okay, this is golden time. This is once in a lifetime. You can look over the boat and you see this immense whale just up and down in the water, just floating
wow.
there, right? Like,
Cool.
and all of a sudden, boom, he says, okay, get your stuff on, get in the water. I'm sick. I can't
Oh.
move. I'm just like everybody's excited, and like you said, I'm like you feel like you're dying. I'm holding
Hmm.
on to the side of the boat, just losing it. And they give me ginger and all this stuff, but I was just like the one thing I was really looking forward to, and I couldn't let go of the boat. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Well,
crazy.
and the thing is, in that situation, I mean, now, did you already know at that point that you had some type of motion
Yep.
sickness?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
why I
okay.
had the patch on, which
Right.
normally works on a ship.
See, and that's one thing because you were cognizant of your issues. My story, also in a tropical realm, on our honeymoon, since we're talking about that, is we had no plans when we got to Hawaii when we got married. We found this old surfer dude that had retired in on the Big Island of Hawaii, who was like mahalo brother, and he was our minister. He was a minister, and it was a great thing. But we made the mistake of arriving early, and so we decided to go on a snorkeling trip. So we get on the boat and we're headed out to this snorkeling site. And I'm from Arizona, and in Arizona we have temperatures that that are as
How's the
close.
snorkeling in Arizona, Dave?
It's very, very good. But so I figured I'm from Arizona. I've been living in the sun my entire life. I don't need no stinking sunscreen. I don't need no
Oh,
stinking shirt. I don't need any of that. Well, as we're out there, it's like 2 hours out to the snorkeling site, and then we snorkeled for about an hour or two. And the guide on the boat said, "Hey, Dave, it might be a good idea for you to put on a shirt. You're getting a little red." And of course, being an idiot, I go, "I'm from Arizona. Come on. I mean, it's 70 degrees out. Why would I need that?" Well, go forward 7 hours and the first layer of blisters started. Then the second layer of blisters started. Now we're getting married the next day. So literally there's pictures, and I'll dig them out and I'll show them on a future show, of us walking down the aisle, which in this case was down through a garden at the hotel we were at, literally looking like Tim Conway shuffling, because every single inch of my body that had a shirt on it was on top of a blister that was about to pop, or it was already popped and it was stinging, and everything stuck. And I had linen pants on, a linen shirt on, it didn't matter. So the hotel had bought us this wonderful dinner and a luau, and my wife and I are trying to smile, and we are in so much pain. And of course, when you get married, I think everybody here is probably married. When you get married, the one thing you want to do is go back to your hotel room, and you're married now. I slept on the lanai, and Sharon slept somewhere else, because it was like, don't touch me,
don't touch
don't touch me, don't get near me. And it was literally, in fact, it was probably something we should have gone to the hospital for, because it was that bad.
Yeah,
And
blisters are bad.
oh well, and it's funny because the one set of blisters goes away, and then the second set of blisters shows up, and then it was horrible. But yeah, and normally, I'm half Puerto Rican. I don't sunburn. Yeah, okay, I learned. Now I will wear a parka the next time we go in the ocean. So
So, have you been back to Hawaii since?
no, that's one thing that
Oh,
we want to do. We've been looking at a couple things because we got married on the Big Island, and we want to go back. I'd like to see Maui. I'd like to see Kauai. I was stationed on Oahu for a little while, and to me, Oahu is just a Los Angeles that's surrounded by water. But there's a bucket list cruise that I would like to take. It leaves out of Long Beach. It's 4 days, and I don't mind sea days. In fact, I like sea days. 4 days across to Hawaii, and then you see all the islands, and then it's 3.5 days to Fiji, then another 2 days to Tahiti, and then 6 full days back. It's like a 34-day cruise. I would love to, but then I look at the price tag and I say, okay.
I'm sure your wife thinks you're worth it.
Well,
yeah, that's a long time on a ship.
yeah, I mean, and that's the part that I love cruising, I really do. But the problem that we've had with cruising on some of the ships that we go on is that you get to a port. Exactly, Frank. You get to a port, and you travel at night on some of these ships, and so you get in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and you got to be back on the ship by 5 because you're getting ready to leave. So a lot of these places you really do not get to see, and I know that's not what it's meant for. It's meant to give you a taste to go back.
And I think we need to do cruises as a whole topic one day. But like I said, we spent a week in Tahiti, in a room. And loved it. So I know that thing that where people say you can't experience where you are on a cruise ship, because we've done Europe on a cruise ship, and that's different than spending a week just in one Airbnb and getting to know the culture and all that stuff. But
and that's what we like. That's what we like to do. When I took Sharon to Puerto Rico, my mom lived there at the time, so she was engraved in the culture. And that's a totally different animal when you're traveling, so.
Well, and let's. But I'm gonna punt that down. We'll do cruising a whole thing.
That
but
works.
Frank mentioned the 3 days. So we've been to Maui twice. The first time we also went to Honolulu, and I agree with you. That was just after Maui. It was just like, why would you come to Hawaii and just hang out in a big city with malls and high rises and stuff? But later, what month is this now? We're in June, right? So in June, this month I think we're going to Kauai. Never been there, so we want to see something different. It's funny because as Frank said, you don't need a whole lot of days to see what's in Maui, which is true, but it's like a relax and just beautiful, beautiful. So Kauai, we hear, is even more beautiful. But you search on Google or whatever things to do there. There ain't much listed.
No.
You better be ready just to relax and enjoy the beach. So we'll see how it goes. I'll report back. But
well, that'll be good. That'll be good. We speaking of little tiny vacations, and I think that these 3 to 4 day mini getaways are kind of fun too, because they're a little bit less expensive. Number one, and like what we did is we went up to the White Mountains here a few weeks back, or a month ago now, and spent 4 days in a cabin sitting at a lake. That's all we did. That's all we did. And it was wonderful because Sharon would be inside by the fire, reading a book or taking a nap or whatever, and I'd be out fishing. And it just, and it's nice to be able to turn the phone off and just detox. And it's nice to do that. And look who we have here. Well, I guess we should give Matt the the barfly Major Rich salute.
there you go.
Well, welcome, Matt.
Well, and I can see that changing once our kids are all out of the house, because we have to take that into account, right? If we're going with them, place to kick back and just read a book and just zone out, that doesn't fly.
Right. Now, since we are an adult themed show, I think we need to be cognizant of the fact, and you'll see
as
that.
far as I have pants on. All right.
Exactly. Well, and I'm worried because if you see
Far as
what Matt just wrote, I'm worried if we need to. See, Rich, we don't need any. Rich went right where we were going to go. So.
So we've got to show that. That's one thing that maybe not everybody knows is if you watch this back on the replay, um, or if you're watching on just one of our YouTube channels, in fact, you only see the chat that's on that YouTube channel.
Right.
So until we switch over, we gotta all the golden comments we've got to put up on the screen, which I don't know if Matt's to go.
Well, and actually, you know what? I think we need to put. I think we need to put Matt on the agenda as a guest, because if some of you guys have been watching his gardening, this man is amazing. I mean, he's like horticultural dude. Yeah, I mean, it looks really good. Plus, I know he's growing a huge crop of radishes, and I love radishes.
Oh, radishes! I thought you were.
It's just a fun word to say.
Well, and even though we were trying to kind of get away from the shaving part of this, on the show, I think will be fine from time to time to do that. And in his straight razor collection of 10 to 20, as far as his wife knows, would be something to talk about as well.
That's true. That's true.
Restoration and all that. Yeah.
That's actually very, very true.
So I don't know, Dave. Do you want to? We've also been trying to decide if we need to set a time limit for this, or that's the tough part. Is we want to leave you hanging a little bit, so to speak, that we don't just talk until we're, I think so. So we make a joke. Matt's known for collecting more than enough straight razors, as we can say it that way. We talked about half an hour. We talked about an hour. We're kind of in between those, and I don't know that we're gonna set a time, but we do want to end it before we just kind of start like staring at each other too.
Well, and I think the main point too is making sure that and Matt, since you don't know, since you weren't here for the beginning of it, basically the chat room here we're going to be calling the bar, and you guys are going to be the Drinks with Dave Barflies. And we want you guys to be interactive with us. So if you've got a subject matter or you have a question for one of us, in fact, you know what? That's probably what we should do. Since we're at 47 minutes right now, we can probably go for another 10 or so. And I would think that maybe towards the last part of the show is when we take questions from the bar. And the nice thing about that is because questions from the bar after 40 minutes, if they join us in a libation, which we hope that they are, the questions could be rather interesting. So if anybody has any questions.
That's good to hear. So we were talking about how often we can do this. Because, Barber Dave is on his fourth career now, so he tends to be a little bit busy and has the cadre going. I think we probably both enjoy it every week, but that'd be quite the commitment to make. So we were hoping twice a month. And we were just talking about that before we came on the air, is that we need to figure that out. We were looking at maybe every other Monday. Summer times is going to be a little rough with vacations and stuff, so it might switch around. But I'm hoping after summer we can get on a regular schedule so people know when to expect us.
Well, and another thing we can do, like if I go on vacation or David goes on vacation, maybe that's a time that we have a guest, and because this channel is a living being, and we want your guys' input. And Frank, I did not realize that you were out with a back injury. I'm glad you're doing better.
Well, and to answer Matt's question, your OnlyFans is on sale now that you hit 1,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel, right?
What's that again? I'm sorry?
Your OnlyFans page. You've cut the price on that this month.
Yes. In fact, I do need to give Frank a shout out. Frank is my first super fan. He was nice enough to donate to the channel, and all those items are going to be going towards products and stuff like that I'll review, and we're hoping, obviously, and I think that getting to 1,000 with this channel is going to be fairly expeditious. I think that once we get up and running and we've got different subjects that everybody can listen to, because as we were talking about earlier in the show, when you have a niche, be it shaving, you get a limited audience, but we're going to be doing everything, at some point, I'm sure.
I'm laughing, Frank, but I feel bad because I think those of us at this age have been there, where any major pain, you just wonder what the hell did I just do? All I was doing is reaching for my wallet or trying to get out of bed or whatever, and your body all of a sudden decides that little muscles don't want to do what they used to do.
Yeah, it's that. So yeah, so I mean, well, and if you guys want to, you guys, our barflies, if you guys want to put in the chat, since you guys were the first ones for our inaugural show, give us an idea. 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour. What? Oh, I'm sorry, Tig Lily, Gesundheit. So everybody together say, bless you. So, you know, what would you guys like to see as far as time? Jeez. leave it to Matt to have it go south.
Well, that could be our tagline. Well, 69 minutes. It's time for us to go. Come far enough.
Wrong.
All right. Well, and that's why I'm streaming our Gmail address too.
Right.
But,
So they can.
if you want to reach out, I don't want to get too serious, but like if you think you have a interesting hobby or whatever like that, but you don't want to throw it out in public,
right.
Please email. Like Barbara Day probably doesn't even know that I used to collect Pez, and that could be a whole nother discussion.
Really?
Well,
that's
really,
interesting.
but see,
Well, that's like you probably don't know that I collect dragons.
I kind of do.
Okay. Space items? Yeah, you kind of know that too. Oh, but there is somebody in my life that collects pens.
That's
Like
in your
writing
life?
writing pens. No, somebody else that collects pens. But it's interesting on how those pens are collected. But that's for another show.
For another C-word. Did we talk watches yet? No, Matt. This is our first channel. We really didn't have, other than explaining what we're doing and how we got here, which you totally missed. So you need to be fair, watch it on both of our channels so we both get a view from that. Hit like on both our channels. But no, this was our first show, so we're gonna talk about different careers. We're gonna talk about hobbies. So we'll talk watches. We'll talk scotch. We'll talk cigars.
You know, and I guess we should. Oh, did you see? I almost vomited there a little bit. We probably should at some point talk about. Hold on a minute. Bourbon, and then we can have one of our resident bourbon experts. We can probably have as a guest. And yes, and the cool thing is we can hit two birds with one stone because we can have a bourbon expert and a Sasquatch on our show at the same time. Which I think that's ratings, man. That's.
I guess we can. I want to make comments, but that's a whole other show. I don't want to. I don't want to go to. You know, that's the beauty of this, right? You can mention one thing, and we can go for 20 minutes on that. So, or the downfall of this. All righty, we good?
Any other questions, guys? Before we sign off for our first show, we hope you enjoyed it. Any other questions?
And we know there's a delay, so that's the awkward part. Sasquatch.
Sasquatch talk. Well, okay. Is there anybody in the bar that, or Dave, has anybody ever seen a true Sasquatch? Not Chad. A true Sasquatch. Because you're from up in that area,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, well, then you know what's weird? They have this Made in Oregon store that's like in the malls and at the airport, and they've got Bigfoot everything that you can buy actually in the stores up there. But yeah, I don't believe in that. I don't think that's a thing. Because like the Loch Ness Monster, right? The whole thing is like, how could something like that live without people running across it more? Anyway, see, we're going down another road.
Yeah, see, there's so many. I mean, this is going to be like the tributary show. You know, we can go off on tangent. You know, tributary river tributaries.
Yeah.
See, somebody liked it.
All right, so, I apologize for adding the sound effects, guys.
No, there's going to be more, lots more. So, well, I think Dave, I think that's probably that was a good show, and I hope it looks like everybody enjoyed it. Tell your friends, guys. Tell everybody to come and join us. We're not quite sure when the next show is going to be. We'll work on that behind the scenes. But I did want to ask one question of the Barflies. Did you guys get a notification? Being the fact that you're both part of our channels, how quickly did you get a notification that we were going live? That'll help us as well.
You know what? I got one for your channel, Dave.
Yeah, I did for you as well.
There we go.
I did for you guys as well.
So,
so I think, yeah, and we really, really thank you guys for being here. You know, we've been joking around, having a good time, but Dave and I, we were on, to give you a little bit of the behind the scenes, Dave and I were on the pre-show probably an hour before we got started tonight, because we wanted to make sure that we had everything up and running as best as we can. And we really you don't know how much we appreciate the fact that you guys were a part of the show. So I think with that, I think we'll probably say goodnight. We'll take you out with a little bit of cigar lounge music, so to speak. And so from my side, Dave, and Dave on your side, Dave.
good night, Dave.
Say goodnight, Dave.
Good night, Dave.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.